John Sadler is a prescribed fire manager for the Florida Forest Service. His position he has held since 2005. His primary responsibilities include administering the Certified Prescribed Burn Manager program and promoting the benefits of prescribed fire as a management tool. He's also served on the steering committee for the North Florida Prescribed Fire Council and National Interagency Prescribed Fire Training Center. John began his career during forest intervention in Maine and Alaska. He moved to Florida in 1997 as a state lands forester. He has a degree in forestry resource management from Southern Illinois University. Welcome, John Sadler.
I'm going to hold this because I really need it. All right, thanks, David. I thought when you were talking about you're all excited and waiting, I thought you were talking about me, not more raffle tickets. So, hi everybody, welcome. So I don't have a lot of update. There's not been a lot of changes. So if you saw this before, I apologize. But we'll go over what we got. There's a few things on here that are novel. All right, so just a little outline. It was an awesome year for burning, so we'll go over that. Also, we do have our classes are open for certified burner training. A few of them are full, and a couple of them, the deadline to register, I think, is in a couple of weeks. But those are, I got the schedule up for that. Somebody actually was talking to me earlier about when can I use Web OBA. You can use it now. There's just a trick to it, and I'll go over the trick to log into that. Talk about our prescribed fire enhancement program that a lot of the agencies are taking advantage of. We talked about air quality. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Maybe they will change it back. That would help us. And then just the regular burner review stuff that I do each time. So Rick was talking about a small group of people doing a lot of burning. And so this past year, so this is fiscal year, so it's June to July or July to June. So 23-24, we did 2.5 million acres. So that's pretty good. Give yourself a round of applause for that. He was talking about, if you look at this graph, this goes back 20 years and it's pretty steady, which I think is impressive because I'm pretty sure the population graph of Florida isn't as steady over the last 20 years. So a lot of people moving in. You guys are still able out there doing the good work, and I definitely appreciate that. So good job there. This is the course schedule for classes coming up. The ones scratched out are full. That one in Palm Beach, I think, might be full. The LaBelle class, there's plenty of room in LaBelle if you want to go down there, and we have a couple in the Panhandle. So if you have anybody that needs to take the class, be sure and have them sign up as soon as they can. All right, so how many people have had trouble getting on the smoke screening tool or Web OBA since maybe April? Yeah, so something happened with our security at our apartment level, and this particular program that we use is part of our FEMAS program. It's part of the same program that we use to issue our burn authorizations. And it is 21 years old. So it's pretty old technology as far as computer stuff go. And so for some reason, we're getting this error when you try to click on the link. And it all has to do with the URL at the top. And I'm not really a security or web person, but so I've kind of zoomed in here. Hopefully you can see it. So it starts out, the first 5 letters in the URL are HTTPS. And I have no idea what those letters stand for, but I know the S stands for security, and that's what's causing the problem. So if you pull this up and you're getting that error, you can just take the S out, and it should work. It also will work. It'll work on like an iPhone or iPad for using Safari. I think it'll work on Safari. I've also had people tell me they had good luck using Firefox as a browser, or maybe Opera. Is that even one still? I don't know. But yeah. So take the S off, and it should work for you. You may need to, if it doesn't work, you may need to go in and delete your your browser history, delete the cookies out. But that should work. And they told me they're not gonna fix it. But we are working on replacing it with something new, but that's been delayed. So I don't have a time frame on that. So just try that, take the S off. If that doesn't work, try clearing your browser history and then hopefully it'll work for you. And that's for both the smoke screening tool and the web OBA. All right, what do I got to say? Anyway, so if you take the S off, then you should get to the login page. I guess that's what that is. All right, so prescribed fire enhancement. Again, this year we had a pile of money that I was given to hand out to state agencies and water management districts. I think I handed out about $5 million this year, between about $3 million for other agencies and about $2 million for our agency for prescribed fire enhancement. And so it does things like this. This is at Swanee River Water Management. They do a lot of roller chopping as a way to get their fuels down to a level where they can burn those. They do a really good job every year with that. St. Johns River, they they bring in some folks to help burn, so they're utilizing the money for that. We'll buy. So this is another mowing project on Big Shoal State Park. So they'll do fuel reduction mowing or chopping. We buy equipment for people. I won't buy the actual vehicle, but we'll buy the mulching head for them. So, yeah. But yeah, so like I said, this year, I don't know what it's going to look like because all the money's running out in July of 25 or June 25. So I'm not sure what the program's going to look like next year, but hopefully we'll know by March what it's going to look like, and I can get that information out to the folks. All right, so PM 2.5, that's been talked about a little bit today, and Rick is right. Smoke is what's going to get us to take the torch out of our hand. But and this is one of the things that might do it, is this PM 2.5. You may or may not know, back in the summer, they passed new, I guess it might have been in the spring, they passed new level for air quality, the threshold right there. It used to be, if you see there on the left side, previous AQI category, the break point was 0 to 12 micrograms per cubic meter for particulate matter. And then they dropped that down to 9. So before, if it was up to 11.9, you were still under good air quality. But now anything 9 or above is considered moderate. So that's kind of a big deal. That's a pretty big drop. There was a lot of debate on if it would be, I think the range was 8 to 10 is what they were looking at to reducing it down to. So they picked 9. And so what does that mean for us? And for us in Florida, it doesn't really mean a whole lot right now because we're in pretty good shape in Florida for air quality. So it will change when you see the air quality maps or you get an air quality alert on your phone. You'll get more frequent moderate indicators or moderate levels than you would in the past. And that's really the only difference was between the moderate and good. Between the moderate and unhealthy, they didn't change those at all. So it's just a break point between the good and the moderate. So here's a map of monitors across the state, and these are annual averages for PM 2.5. And I don't think it's marked on here, but so if you look at them, all the numbers are in pretty good shape. So they're all less than 9, except for 2 of them. There's one in Pensacola is 9.7, and there's one down in Broward that's 9.7. So what that means when they drop that threshold to 9, if these numbers stay at the levels they are, then those areas will be in what they call non-attainment. So they're not attaining the level of the air quality that they need. So that could cause a lot of issues if we get into non-attainment, like shutting down burning, for instance, things like that. The good news is these numbers are preliminary, and they were, I don't know all the details on it, but so there's two different kind of monitors, and one of the kind of monitors runs high, it estimates high, and they know that, so they did some reconfiguration. And I think we're going to be in good shape. We're going to be below 9 for all the monitors in Florida, so we are not in non-attainment for any of our areas. But a couple of them are still pretty close. The one in Pensacola is that monitor like right by an industrial park, so there are a lot of trucks going in and out. And the one in Broward, it's basically from me to David from I-95. It's like right off the interstate. So that's why it's such a high value. So, and frankly, the one in Broward County probably doesn't get a lot of smoke impact, but the one in Pensacola likely does. So, so just keep this in mind. The good news is the EPA has recognized prescribed burning as a good thing. So if we do impact a monitor, and it happens in Tallahassee at least once a year, seems like, we'll have a spike where it'll be like, it'd be a super high, like 135 or something. It's a real high spike. And so if that happens, we have the ability to that where we can, it's called an exceptional event, and we can do what's called an exceptional event demonstration, and we can submit paperwork to request that day be removed from the average for the whole year. So when they're doing the average, if you got a super high day and you can provide all the documentation and paperwork that says that was from a prescribed burn, then they'll take that out. They'll also do it for wildfires, like the Canadian wildfire smoke that came down, you can take that out of your average. So this is supposed to be like a background based average. So anytime you have these events that spike it and you can prove that it was prescribed fire, then you can take it out. The bad part about that is one of the criteria that we have to have is that, so they did a demonstration on what an exceptional event demonstration would look like. And they did it in California, which is fine. But one of the things they come up with is you have to have proof that you warned the public that this could happen. So they're doing a prescribed fire, a 3,000 acre burn in California that they've never burned. So of course it's a big media thing. They're building it up. Hey, we're going to be doing burning. In Florida, we don't do that. We burn 2 million acres a year, minus the sugar cane, which is only 400,000. It's not a million, but we still can run. And it's a big pain in my butt, the sugar cane burning, trust me, we get that a lot. But anyway, so they're saying that you have to notify people that it's potential that it could happen. And I argue with them, I was like, well, that's fine if you're burning somewhere that you never burned, but we burn every day pretty much somewhere in Florida. So if we put out something every day, hey, there's smoke, hey, there might be smoke, hey, there might be smoke, either they're not going to listen or they're going to be like, why are you doing all this burning? Right now we burn a lot and most people don't even know that we burn. So I don't know, we're working on that with them. So, but anyway, just keep in your mind where these monitors are and try not to smoke them out, okay? The good news is most of them are in towns, so they're already near smoke sensitive features, so you shouldn't be putting smoke on them anyway. All right, so back to air, sticking with air quality. I've said this before, I think. So we do look at air quality now, the air quality forecast. This was from October 21st. This was before the North Florida meeting. I didn't have a chance to do one for today, but so this is an air quality index forecast from airnow.gov. You can go there right now and you can get the forecast for today or tomorrow. And we will look at this forecast, and this is the green is good, the yellow is moderate. If it switches over to orange, which is considered unhealthy for sensitive groups, then we're probably not going to be issuing in that area. So if you look at that and it's orange, then we're not going to issue. They do have a real-time map, but we don't use that. We use the forecast. And also, if you look, they look like black circles, but they're actually colored circles. But the colors just happen to coincide with the stuff around them. So those are the monitor locations. So if it's a yellow circle, then they forecast it's going to be in the moderate for that area. And you could have especially where there's a cluster of them, you could have a yellow monitor and a green background. But so that's one way you can check the air quality. There's another map that this one's a relatively new map, and I think they just updated it recently. This one's kind of neat. This is the air now, fire and smoke map. And so you can look on here, you see the green and yellow dots, those are the monitors and their current reading. But then if you look closer, you can see the little yellow fire or the red fire icons. Those are actually wildfires that are reported. They pull that data through the NWCG, so you can click on that and get some information. But there's also satellite detected hotspots, the little orange dots on there. And then it also shows satellite detected smoke plumes. So if you look there, kind of northeast of Montgomery, there's an orange dot, and you can see that smoke plume going right into Montgomery. So this is something else that's a good tool that you can use and see where fires are currently occurring, and then any smoke that's detected in the area. So that one in Montgomery. So that's another thing with the exceptional events. If you can prove that the smoke is coming in from another state, then it's a lot less paperwork, because you're like, well, we don't have anything to do with that because it wasn't our state. So I always tell them that anytime Tallahassee gets hit, it's all coming from Georgia. Yes, sir.
Outline over Louisiana.
That is a big blob of smoke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, the reason I chose Montgomery is because it's, you can tell that it's coming from that one spot. So
Thank you.
yeah. All right. Again, I don't have a whole lot of new stuff, so this is going pretty quick. So the burner review should get your letters in January, mail or email. And I really want to stress the email. I really need y'all's email address. So if I don't have your email address and you're not getting it, please log in to your web OVA and put your email, or send it to me, because when we do switch over to our new system, hopefully in months, not years, we'll need your email address for that. You can also keep your address information current. And please let us know that you're doing a certified burn, because I do this a lot. I'll send somebody a letter and they're like, well, I did all these burns. And I was like, well, yeah, but this one and this one and this one aren't marked as certified. And they're like, oh, well, and then it's a whole big back and forth. I mean, we can fix it if you can show that you did actually have a prescription, right? He's talking about the burn plan. You gotta have a plan. I think maybe we should change it to planned burning instead of prescribed burning. Maybe that would make it easier for people to understand that we have a plan.
Maybe they'll remember to have it on site too.
Yeah. Good point. Oh, I was supposed to, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be right back. Oh, I left it in my other truck. I'm sorry. Yeah. All right, so web OVA, again, like I said, if now that you know the trick to get back into it, just take the S off, right? Was that somebody said? Was that a question? Okay. Yeah, so in here, you can check your good through years. It's right there at the top and let you know. And that's the end of the year. So if it says 2027, it's December 31st, 2027. So you keep that in mind. Also, you can update your burner information, your mailing address, email, phone number, all that good stuff. Burn participation log. I get a lot of these in the mail. I appreciate that you guys use this form. It makes it a lot easier for me to make sure that you guys keep your certification. Yeah, some things to remember, and I say this all the time, but I think they're important. Your prescription is a legal document. So make sure that the information on there is complete. You got all the stuff on there you're supposed to have. Make sure it's correct. Make sure it makes sense. You don't want to put something on there that doesn't make any sense to somebody that knows what they're looking at. You have to sign it, right? And it has to have a date, and the date needs to probably be at least the same day of the burn, if not before. You don't want to sign it after the burn. Take it with you to the burn. That was brought up. Make sure the authorization number's on there, and keep it in your files. A couple of reasons. One, it's a good historical document for you. And two, You never know when somebody may come and ask you about that burn that you did however many years ago. And again, tell us that you're doing a certified burn. And that last one there is, we're all in this together, right? We talked about how smoke is probably going to be the thing that takes our drip torch away. And, we are a right to burn state, and you are certified burners. And, if you read the law, it says you can't be shut down for being a nuisance, but, be smart about it. Don't go in there with the attitudes like, well, I can do this because the law says I can. If we upset enough people or the right people enough times, then, they could take this away from us. Oh, upcoming events. So, Prescribed Fire Awareness Week always starts the fourth Sunday in January. So that'll be January 26th to February 1st next year. And kept talking about the Flatwoods Fire Festival in Gainesville. That's going to be on February 1st up at the Austin Carry Forest in Gainesville. So put that on your calendar. I've never actually been to that one. Maybe I should try to go to that. I hear parking is really tough though. So if you go early. And that's really all I have.
Any questions for John? Way in the back, yes.
Regarding the EPA, the smoke management, is there gonna be a limit to the number of submissions on those exceptional event, situations?
So the question was, will there be a limit on how many exceptional event requests we can put in? I don't think so. I know Georgia, their map looks a lot worse than our map as far as areas that are in non-attainment. And so they're trying to get theirs into compliance, and they are talking about doing an order of like 150 or some odd exceptional event demonstrations to exclude prescribed burning smoke from their numbers. So yeah, I don't think there's a limit.
No, it could be the exceptional events rule, as I understand it, was not designed for prescribed fires. It was written. So this is a real shocker that what we learned over the past 2 years in having these smoke meetings in Georgia, which have been fantastic. We've invited EPA members out on a prescribed fire. Half of them wear polyester, which is another interesting thing. But great people, they're in it to protect public health. It was an education for them that there is a plan that more prescribed fire can actually result in less smoke over time. All these great concepts that we know. But that exceptional events rule, as I understand, was designed really not for this, not for, hundreds of prescribed fire. Because I do remember that meeting, they were like, because the paperwork is insane to submit this. It's getting data from, whatever smoke modeling you can dredge up, and then differentiating between Canadian smoke. So but they are pushing forward with it. What we've heard from the EPA, they want us to burn more. They're just gonna have to figure out how we do it. And I have a question for you. So did anything ever come about the public notification aspect within each burn plan? A good burner should have that. How am I gonna mitigate smoke? I'm gonna notify, neighbor X, Y, and Z or whatever. Would that count?
Yeah, I don't know. And that's a good one. We talked about putting it in the chatter feed for the National Weather Service, so that it's in there, and if it's a big enough one, maybe people will see it. There's a couple of them that come to mind, and it's like Tallahassee got smoked in earlier this year, and it was from the Apalachicola National Forest. They were doing, it was like 5,000 acres or something like that. And they were I think it was in Liberty County. So they were a good distance from Tallahassee. The wind all day was out of the southeast, and it was blowing north and west away from Tallahassee. And then right before dark, this wind came in from the west and just pushed it right into Tallahassee. But that, that wasn't forecast. And another example is they were burned on Lake Okeechobee Lake bottom, like 12,000 acres, 8,000 acres. And they smoked in literally West Palm Beach on the coast. And I got calls from that, and they're like, well, if we'd only known, that would have been something. If you would let us know it was coming. I said, well, if we knew that we were going to smoke out West Palm Beach, then we wouldn't have done the burn like that. So that's my argument with them. You know, same with Tallahassee. If the Forest Service thought that that smoke was gonna hit Tallahassee, they probably wouldn't have burned it like that. So, you know, my argument is then, it's like, well, if we know it's gonna impact the town, then we wouldn't have done it. So how do you expect us to notify somebody that something's coming that we don't expect?
Yeah, and the EPA was very surprised that in the burn plans, they were surprised that good burners avoid areas, smoky banks. That's what we've all been taught.
Yeah.
So if the exception, if it's prescribed fire, if the exception was not really intended for prescribed fire, then what are gonna be the solutions for prescribed fire and to keep these maximum thresholds below?
Yeah, so, I mean, they recognize and they're saying that prescribed fire is what they would consider an exceptional event. It's just the paperwork that you have to do to demonstrate that that's what it was. And to me, all you gotta do is show them like the satellite loop that shows that it was from a prescribed fire, but apparently that's not enough.
Yeah, right now, that's the only mechanism that is gonna be utilized. I mean, there's talk of putting something else in place, because not to go into the weeds of this, but like, when you think about it, how would a prescribed fire be an exceptional event? It's actually a priority event. It's very vital and important. And the EPA recognizes that as well. So it's almost a semantic issue where, oh, you did one fire? Hey, that's great. So you're done, right? So it's this idea that, and that was an education process on their end too. But again, from all I've seen, the high-ranking EPA officials, right, we get it, this is important, but within the framework of what they have, that's the best solution for now. But yeah.
There was one,
I'm just wondering, that change wind that late in the day. I'm assuming you're out of description that you call for a northwest wind.
well, they were done burning, but it was just, you know, they burned so many acres at this.
Still under the burn, I was wondering how that played into your.
No, if you look at the satellite, the wind where the fire is didn't really change, but it hooked the plume around and brought it into Tallahassee.
If the smoke monitor is close to town and a park is trying to burn further into the country, is there an advantage or disadvantage of trying to get an extra monitor further east from town? You know, is there any advantage to having smoke monitors closer to you in order to have better chances of getting burn permits?
Well, I think, so there are, and it didn't show it on here, but there are a lot of other monitors out there. Specifically purple air monitors. And I think maybe on the Air Now maps, I think you might be able to turn those on. But I only had on the official monitors. Which those are the only ones that are used to determine actual air quality, even though like a lot of schools have them, or a lot of people that have respiratory issues, they might have their own personal one. I think they're a few $100s to buy one and set it up and you connect it. Well, not officially, correct.
Yeah, there's also going to be a lot more air quality monitors put in place of, you know, of different kinds. And a lot of it's based on better air quality for neighborhoods, you know, so it's all good intentions, you know, for public health.
Jillian?
Yep.
Doesn't the Eagle office have
The econ, I'm not sure. I don't know. I do know, yeah, I did get a call. It might have been last week or the week before. I can't remember. Somebody was having a fire festival and they do a demo burn. And I think it was in Lake County, maybe. But the weather was horrible. We weren't issuing. It was like super high winds. And I mean, they're doing like a 1 acre demo burn, but they decided not to do it. And I told them that's a good lesson to the group as much as doing the burn.
It was JD.
Was it JD?
Okay.
I actually, when we were talking about that earlier, I was thinking that.
No, it wasn't Jonathan Dickinson. It
Because at
was,
JD, we had, it was 3,000 people were there, and I thought we should have brought like the group together. Like, we're gonna do it,
And then call
and the
it.
briefing, and then, okay, never mind, we didn't do it.
yeah. I mean, the one I'm talking about wasn't at JD, but I'm glad you guys did the same thing. So that's a good lesson too. You know, it's just important to let people know that we decide not to burn sometimes than burn. So.
One more question.